Hey, welcome to Vice Grip Garage. Work continues on the 72 Chevelle here, known as Independence. I'm building it for a burnout car, and if a guy gets crazy enough, I'll even shoot it down the drag strip here and there. While I'm waiting on speed parts for the big block, I've got a couple smaller things I want to button down, just get them over with. I want to paint the floor, get the harness bar painted, and put the harnesses in this thing and try them on for size. And then if time allows, I got to start planning on how I'm going to get this trunk rigid enough to hold up a fuel cell and start designing the fuel lines and all that plumbing. This sounds like a lot of work, actually. No lunch. Great. Well, if you're new to the channel, I get you caught up a little bit. I cut out all the rust and rot in this floor, and we welded in a bunch of new metal and patched her up here a little bit. And then we got this harness bar welded in. It's just a basic 4-point, but really all I wanted was this bar here to kind of shoot in here and give me some seat belts. And then we drilled our holes for the seats here. And then since this is all brand new metal, I did the right thing and pushed it outside in the rain for a week or two. You really got to teach it a lesson and just, get some rust on this thing. Now I feel much more comfortable working on it. First thing I'm going to do is just get these seats out, and then I got to wipe this down just a little bit. And then I got some real top of the line paint for this thing. I did my best to line all this up so I could get a factory bolt down in here into that cross member. Get out of here. Wow, what in the devil I got over here? Yep. Pretty sure a guy saw a goat living in here this morning when I pulled up. So I'm gonna run the Mouse Sucker 200 through here really quick. That ought to save me about 917 rags. Kind of prep this up a little bit. I'm just using this Ace of Base sauce. And if you don't have any, just shoot some brake clean or carburetor cleaner in here. Even some Sprayway would work. If you want to see what you would do to a floor if you were actually restoring a vehicle, go check out the Cadillac interior video. You wire wheel it and we'd seam seal and stuff like that, but I'm not. I'm just gonna wipe some of the surface rust off and then hit her with paint. Actually, just dump it in the floor. Yeah, that works way better. Let it eat a little bit. Yeah, that's way too much. Perfect. I don't really know that this is doing much, but sure feels right. If you're wondering why my face is as red as my shirt, it's at least 219 degrees Celsius in here, and I ain't kidding you. I'm going to start by painting the harness bar first, mainly because I'm not going to tape much of anything off. So there's just going to be overspray going everywhere. So I'm going to get that done, then I could just come back later and brush the floor around it. I got some primer. It just says primer. And then I got some white paint. Fusion. The reason I got this is it says any angle, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be upside down and this and that and this, trying to paint that thing. So hopefully this works. Hit her with the primer and then we'll go to town on color. Guy's got his A-body roll cage paint blocker 9000 installed, and it does pretty good. They're kind of rare, but you can find them. I'm pretty perplexed by the lack of overspray out of this here primer. Yeah, I said perplexed. It's surprise and perplexed just kind of mashed together. Guy's got that painted up, and it looks halfway decent-ish. My technique I'm using, if you're wondering, is called I don't care. This portion right here, I'd like not to have a run in. But if I get one in there with the color, I'll just wrap her with the pad. The rest of it, let this dry and then we'll come back and hit her with some white. You may not know this, but Guy's spray paint champion of the world, 99, 2003 and 07 through 11. And the reason I'm telling you that is I feel like I can weigh in when I say this fusion paint runs really easy, but that's okay. This is the warranty card to my window AC unit and seems to work pretty good for the crevices here. Yep. Well, believe you me, no, yeah, it's white now, and I got her done with only about 723 runs, so that's pretty good. First time I scoot her out in the sun, I'm sure there'll be some primer showing through, but I'll just carry this in the glove box and well, it's X amount of time later. Certainly that ought to be dry by now, so it's time to scoot in here and coat this floor up. One would think since we're going to be putting the abuse on her and the floor is going to get really hot, we're going to have all the RPMs and eagles underneath this thing. Hopefully tire fire and miscellaneous other things burning. You would think that I would, put something flame retardant or heat resistant or something like that. So I did the right thing and picked up a gallon of truck bed coating from, I think it was Harbor Freight. It's pretty nice. It was on sale. And since I didn't dump a lot of money into this, I stepped it up on the old application and picked up this fancy foam brush. Not really sure what this razor blade's for, but they are handy. Ooh, she's sharp too. True story. I start each month with probably at least 80 bungee cords. And today is, what is it? I don't know. It's towards the end of the month, and I got none. I don't understand where they go. So I'm going to use some of the Smurf string and get her up out of the way instead. Yeah, that looks professional. No, not really, but just good enough to get by. Whoop. Yep. Some of these basic paints, latexes and water-based, you can stir them with a stick or just shake them violently until your C7 pops. But since this is a special coating, an acrylic coating, I'm going to run it through the paint shaker just to make sure. Guy went ahead and ran a little test spot back there, and well, I've learned a couple things. It's strong. I'm going to need a respirator and some sort of suit. I'm getting the dizziness. Secondly, it comes out like rubber. It's like truck bed coating, basically. And C, it ate my foam brush right down to the stick. So I'm going to have to step her up to a horsetail, I think. But what I'm getting at is since I literally just started and I've only got a patch done this big, I'm in it way too far at this point to change. So I'm just going to continue on. Nowhere in the directions does it say brush it on. So I think the brush strokes are just going to hang in there. But I'm just going to say that was intentional and it's for gripping of the shoes in there. You don't want to slide around. Safety first. The guy has no idea what this is going to dry like. I'm assuming it's going to kind of have some sort of satin finish to her, but looks halfway decent for 30 bucks. I think the guy might eventually come back and throw some white in here when we get closer to finishing this thing off, or maybe even bring these stripeados right into the sides. Probably not. That's too much work.
I'm gonna go back and say it's with white in here when we get closer to finishing. But I'm gonna let all this dry for now, and then we'll come back. And I think I gotta put the seats in first, because they're gonna go through the back, and then we're gonna do wraparound mounts. You can get them with bolt in, weld in, or wraparound. And I got a kit where you can do all three. But I'm gonna go with wraparound. And then we've got to bolt both sides, one between the legs as well. But all that's gotta be dry, of course, before we get to that. This sat overnight, and it doesn't look very good, but it's all one color. It's a little bit tacky. Guy might have just, you know, put on a little too much here and there. I've already got the driver's seat bolted down. I was just kind of gauging things out today. And that went pretty well, and you can see the measuring, all that time we took earlier, turned out great. And then down here, you know, gal, if she wants to drive this, you got a whole nother foot of seat slidage here. I'm gonna need her back in Sasquatch position like this. And one thing I brought up earlier, and I don't know yet, guy sits in here, his helmet might be hitting the roof there. And we might have to lower this down. And we do that by lowering this down. And that'll give me some clearance up there. And I'm not gonna find out yet, because I don't want to scuff my New Balances up in there. We gotta let that dry out. So today we'll get this other seat bolted in. And you can kind of see the theme I got going on here. That'll look pretty slick. And then these are the harnesses I went with, RCI 5-point. And if you're not familiar with harnesses, there's a few different types for a filler. You can get the old-fashioned seat buckle. Just press a button and boop, those fly apart. Really nice twist dial one. And then there's this old school hook and latch. And basically you just line all these up. Once you hook this down, they're in place. This is the cheapest one, so of course I went with that one. It's also the only one I've ever used. So a guy is really used to just reaching down and ripping this off if you need to get out. Putting these in, gotta take some time. They give you a ton of length, but we want all the adjustment to be here on the chest. So a guy gets in there snug, you just pull down on these, pull across on these, and then we'll get these trimmed up correctly, hopefully. And I actually have a red set for that seat, of course. Once the seats are in and the floor is dry enough, I'll eventually climb in here and start taking some measurements. Remember, I gotta get my levers in there. I got a couple levers. They gotta go somewhere in there. But I know I'm gonna have to raise them up. I don't wanna be reaching down towards the floor to grab. I want them to be kind of 90-degree elbowish. Plan to have some G-forces in here. So they just gotta be right there, you know. So maybe, I don't think we'll get there today, but I can maybe start mocking some stuff up so you can see. And then we'll work back here and I'll kind of show you what I got going on for some fuelage. Box just came in for Summit with some goodies. These are not cheap, believe you me. I cannot believe how much money these fittings cost, but guy's gonna need them. And you might be adding up some hints here, because I haven't said much about the big block, but these are all high pressure fuel line fittings. For the old seat hardware here, I'm just gonna use some grade 5. Grade 8, it's over budget, basically. I got one of the factory bolts right here in the floor support. That's gonna be solid. And then if you remember, I lined everything up. This back bolt is gonna be a big 3-inch guy that also goes through that main floor core support. And then the front ones will just be some smaller washers. It'll rip through the floor before it breaks a bolt, so I'm not too worried about it. At least, let's hope. Nice thing about having 97-foot long arms is I can literally just lean right here and get all the bolts without getting underneath the car. That's neat. One of the things the guy noticed when I was searching to purchase a harness here, especially because I was searching for different colors, is One of the things that shoots up on the Google machine right away when you type in harness is how to install and how to tie them. And I'm thinking someone might accidentally click this video thinking they're going to learn something. So I better teach on you just a little bit. I'm going to bring you in a little bit closer and just show you a couple different ways you can tie these down. And we're going to use this socket from 1978 and pretend that it's a piece of harness bar. Are we on the same page? Good. Each kit's going to be just a little bit different for a feller, but they're all similar in some respects. They should have a slide adjuster like this, and then you're going to have your mounting tabs look like that. And there's three basic ways to put a harness in. You can bolt it right to your harness bar or roll bar. You can weld this on, or I've already tied this one. You can do a wraparound, which looks like that. And this is the style that I'm going to be doing in Independence here. Tying these is really easy. If you overthink it, you're just going to get combobbled. Bring it through your slider, this. Bring it down the other side. And then you're going to put it through or around your bar. So you're either going to take it through a mounting tab, or you're going to wrap it around your bar, and then just simply follow the same path. So come back up this side and back down this side, that, and then just pull that tight. And then this is where you would take all the slack out of it. So again, you're going to have your mounting tab hooked on, or your bar is now going to be in there like that. So pretty straightforward. On your lap portion, general rule of thumb is you only want 3 to 4 inches of extra material here. You don't want a bunch of stuff just flapping around. So make sure you're pulling your slack through your lap sliding adjusters. And you can measure with the string and stuff like that and add 67 inches. I like to just get everything in there, and sometimes I'll even sit in the seats and buckle myself in. Then I jump back out and cut them up. Not sure what I'm going to do today because I don't want to ruin my New Balances. Got this one just kind of laid in here a little bit. And the straps back here are just loose, so I can adjust on them. None of this is bolted in yet. I did sit in here, and then I just slid the adjuster approximately where the anchor can go. So now I can start marking my points where to drill for the 3 bottom points. The kit recommends that the crotch strap is in parallel with the body, so you just follow the seat line, and that's going to put this out here, and I got this nice lip, so that works nice. When I hold that taunt, it's in parallel. And then pay attention to your kit. This one says no more than a 40-degree angle from the shoulder to the actual bar. Basically, they don't want you bringing them straight down. They gotta have a little bit of an angle to them. So now I'll drill my 3 points, and then we can start kind of cinching this up. Once I get one done, I can literally just copy it on the other one, and they're identical harnesses, so the other side should go really quick. I'm doing this side so I don't have to fight the steering wheel and all that stuff. Got this one all finished up. Now blue on blue looks real snazzy. This is all big 1/2-inch hardware all the way around. And I got the minimum adjustment, actually beyond the minimum, but there's enough in here where if a little feller gets in, you can cinch it down. Same with the chest, but I made sure to get the buckles in all the right places per the instructions. So now I got a nice template here. I could just shoot over to that side, and I have a red harness for that side, and just do basically the same exact thing. It is hot in here. Beep. Ah. This side's all done as well. I think that looks awesome. What do you guys think of the color combo? Bleep bloop that down there in the comments. Might need to get some more flash up in the dash area. I might have a red steering wheel coming for it. We'll see about that. But being serious for a second, please don't assume anything I've done here is correct or right. Follow your harness's instructions closely, ask questions, call that company. It's a life safety device, so none of that stuff is, you know, it's not really that funny. Well, getting in them is pretty funny. Here coming up pretty soon, we got to plumb the fuel pressure and return lines, put a fuel cell in, pump, filters, all that stuff. And I need your guys' help. And the question is, what is the best way to run fuel lines in an A-body GM? And the tricky part is, a lot of track regulations and such, you can't have the pump and lines next to the suspension or the tires. So where do you put the pumps? You put them in the trunk next to the fuel cell, you put them on the fuel rail. And how are you running your lines so that it's not in the way, especially if a tire blows or lights on fire, which I guarantee you I'm going to do. So I need some help there. If you've got some diagrammicals or pictures or something, shoot them over to my email. Let's go take a look here. Well, this is a slipperier slope that keeps getting slipperier. It's so rotten back here that guys just kind of having a hard time figuring out what to do. But here's what I'm thinking. This trunk support is 87.2% good. I'll leave that. This one is really decent too, but I'm gonna go ahead and replace that, I think. Got one out of the way. And I'm not gonna do a full trunk. There's a couple reasons. One, there's nothing to weld it to. This is just shot. If I did a full trunk, I'd have to do a quarter extension, quarter panel patch, then I might as well do the wheelhouses, and why not do a whole floor? It just, you know, too much. And the other big reason is I already have a center trunk piece. It's a horrible mold. It's nowhere near restoration quality, so it's perfect. And that'll come out to about right here. So get the support replaced, drop that in, tack weld it. Well, it doesn't seem like a lot, but to me it actually is, because now I'm ready to start getting my shifter, my brake handle, even my gauges and switches and all that set up. You've got to have the base foundation set up. So that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. If you're not subscribed, you need to do that right now. Also hit that bell thing. That does something. ViceGripGarage.com has some cool stuff as well. And if you like the Chevelle, there's plenty more to come. Thanks, guys. We'll see you later.